this is the thing. Since you don't have past, present, or future, what does this mean? This means you can adapt and adjust to diverse timelines. And this is a thing I'm discovering is natural for me. What I'm discovering right now, this is one of the stuff I do since I'm a child. So I travel around. And I thought everyone who has like the spiritual and everything, they did the same. And by now I understand these are kind of identities, you know? Each of us have some kind of specialties, let's say like this. Like you go to school, you choose some, you know, subjects, it's something like that. So you have some ones that some of them you are better than others, and some of others they are better than you. So each of us have our own identity on this. So one thing I by now I understand, I do this as a child. So I travel around time all the time. Not the human time. This is my struggling until now, until this point. So maybe if we do a podcast next year, I hope to say you this the human time is not a problem anymore. But still, and until this point, it still is. So yeah, I have several experiences with time. So I have experience of myself in the future to come and talk to me right now on this lifetime. So I have experience on this own lifetime.
Yeah.
I have experience as a child to see myself or to urge myself saying like, don't worry, focus on this, do that this way, and you will figure it out what this is, you're doing well.
Thank you again, Patty, for being with us today. Thank you so much. I told you I'm very excited about the fact that this is the first episode of the Consciousness podcast that I will be able to share with you. So thank you for that. Thank you also for,
it's an honor.
Yeah. And thank you also for being able to squeeze us in your busy itinerary, because you are just landed yesterday in Giza, in Egypt. So it's very exciting, because I was telling you before, about 2 weeks ago, we talked about maybe start doing this episode, and you tell me, well, I'm gonna be trying to anchor myself in Portugal because you've been traveling a lot, and the 14th, let me reach out to me and we'll coordinate. And I waited till the 14th. I sent you a message saying, hey, I'm sorry, I'm traveling now to Egypt. So that probably came as a surprise a little bit. So what's this Egypt trip about, if you can share a little bit with us?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with you, and I love to support these new projects and these new scenes for this new moment we are all living in terms of expansion of consciousness. So best of good luck for you.
Great.
I'm super happy and honored.
Thank you.
So about Egypt, yes, this is kind of my daily life right now. So I never know exactly where they will ask me to be. So I've just, and we will discuss the date. I've just came from Brazil. I was hosting a group there, retreat there, for 42 Portuguese people. And then actually Brazil was the last one in a row of several trips. One of those we've been together in the United States. So yeah, I decided like, okay, now I'm going back to my base country, my origin country. I'm based in Portugal. And now I need to anchor a little to like integrate the whole thing, observe what it's mine, dismiss what is not. So just anchor, connect with the energy of the country back. And then we can start these new seeds and projects and everything. But well, this is what me in my mind wanted, but then there's a whole other ideas and intentions from all of these invisible friends that are always and all the time ask me to do something and several different things. So basically, yes, by 3 weeks ago, I started receiving to come to Egypt for the solstice. And then I was just like, okay, I checked the flights, checked the whole thing, checked prices, and I was okay to come. But actually, I'm traveling again after Christmas to Indonesia, also to end some processes there. And at some point, I was just like, no, wait, this is too much. There's a lot of stuff happening. I really need to be anchored to be able to see the full picture and to observe everything. So I decided not to come to Egypt. So I arranged with you and with several other people to these dates to do whatever was needed. And then this was the plan. That's why you haven't heard about the Egypt thing. But then universe and these guys around me, they are always like, whatever. At some point when you commit with this kind of work and mission, whatever you want to call it, when you commit, you're committed, and that's it. So they make everything really clear to you. And what's happening in my like process and in my path is like, I received the whole messages and everything through the spiritual, let's say like that, through the subtle world, which is the invisible world, let's call it this way. But then in the material world, always someone appears to kind of, show me that this is all true. This is all the way. This is all...
it's a validation.
Reliable, yes. So
Yeah.
this happened. So I got a friend of mine, which is from Italy, also related with all this spiritual world, which appears to be in Portugal on my first 24 hours. And I was just like, oh, you're there, so let's just have a coffee. I want to see you and see if you're okay. Like a super tiny break there just to see him. And as soon as he sits in front of me, he just asks me like, haven't you received some, I don't know, message, intuition, something to be in Egypt right now? Like near 21, 22, solstice and everything. And I was just like, oh, no. Like
I need to go.
Yes. And for me, by now, this is definitely a sign. I spent several years of my life ignoring all of this. And the whole Patricia probably would need like this push for 3, 4, 5 times in a row. But by now, I know they will give me the push for 3, 4, 5 times. So it doesn't need that waste of time by now. So as soon as I receive more than once, or someone appears in a material life, reproducing something I already received for me, it's like, that's it. So let's do this. And yeah, for me, I know several other channels around the globe, and each of us have like a different ways to receive, or a different digital. And this also changed.
And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what does it mean to receive.
Yeah.
What does it mean when she says about, they told me, I'm receiving this, I'm downloading this information. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to share with the audience, because part of this is for people like me, that when I started about 2.5 years ago, people were telling me in the spiritual world, people were saying, I'm being told to do this, and by who, right? I didn't understand. But
me neither.
But now I understand a little bit more. It's still blurry. It's still not very clear, because I don't have that kind of access. But yeah, we're gonna talk about. We're gonna dive into what that means. Really, who are you talking about it? But yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it's pretty much this. So they send me the message and everything on the spiritual realm, let's say like that. But then all the time, 100% sure, in the matter, someone appears, or if it is a vision or an image, whatever, someone show me proof that is true. Someone show me some lines of thought, lines of, doctrine, lines of whatever, to anchor the information on this reality. And also for me to like understand both realities, let's say like that, because they are this, the material and the non-material, and we need to learn how to float between both of them. So yeah.
Well, many people are getting that sort of information, and probably they also getting those 3D reality validations, because I'm hearing many people going to a guide to Giza for this solstice. So I was surprised by the amounts of people that they're going, very popular people, Edward Grant, Mattia Stefano, and probably many others, but others that are not that popular are also going. So I was really surprised by something that probably is cooking there. Something is going to happen in this solstice. Some very relevant information that you're going to share us after your trip, for sure.
For me, usually, and since like my way of transiting, let's say like that, in the spiritual realm, it's a little different, because I used to be a lawyer, so I have my mind pretty much structured. It's important for me to have the anchor. It's important for me to have the understanding in this realm, the matter, I'm not the kind of person that wants to run away from it and wants to be in the spiritual world. No, I actually ran away from the spiritual world as much as I could. So for me, they send me to the places. By now I have proofs enough that how does all the thing work. So I did not question anymore. And usually they show me what it needs to be done or what's happening or when I'm already at the place to avoid me and my mind to run away from that.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. I got you. Yeah.
that would be the tendency for me, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, I as soon as I arrived here, I got to know that a lot of people were here also because I just came from Amazon from a retreat, so I was all merged with the energy and everything. We've been working with super powerful energies because part of the work it's also planetary. So part of the work I've been doing there, it's to reorganize the territoriality issues. Okay,
Right.
that's what we are living these days with the wars and everything. And there, since I came with the 42 Portuguese people to Brazil, and we have the whole discovery, territorialistic issues there. So it was really a beautiful work we are doing, and they explained me through these all lines of times and parallel realities and everything how that work there right now would impact the territorialist issues we are facing here.
Right.
So I was all into that. And they asked me to come to Egypt. I've just arrived. I arrived this night, and the first thing I did today was going to the pyramids. So because I'm super connected with the energies there and all the civilization and everything. And actually, usually I go super early in the morning, and we woke up in this morning, arrange everything to go, and I was just like, no. They asked me to not go now. We need to go on these next few hours. And I was also shocked because I know the best time in the day by now for me to be in connection with all of those energy and everything. So I went right now, like a few hours ago, there. And yeah, I just saw Matthias there. So the whole group they are starting. So we are both on the same time anchoring this work as all those beautiful people. So I saw other well-known people from the spiritual world there. So definitely we are all like being pushed to do some work, each of us with our own identity and digital, and all of us actually. So not only the ones who kind of recall or understand what they're doing by now, but all of us that are still asleep, we are doing this job also. So
yeah.
beautiful
Okay.
to
Okay, so we're doing our part. You were doing our share as well. That's great.
all of us all the time.
So for the audience that may not know you, just a little story about how I met Patricia. So we met about 2 months ago on a trip to Sedona, Arizona in the United States. We went there with a group, and we were on a bus going to one of these sacred sites that we did like throughout the week. Every time that we sit on the bus, she was sitting behind me. You know, nothing is coincidence, right? Nothing is coincidence. But so at one point I turned back and I don't know why we started talking about what. And my God, I mind blown by when I was talking to her. She started telling me about what she does, and she told me that she does all these retreats with hundreds, thousands. I don't know. You can tell, but it's many people that you've been helping throughout your life to heal. Your Instagram is Heal Me, but more importantly about how that mission has been changing and evolving. Now it's more of a planetary. It's not like individuals work for planetary. That's what they're asking you. Your guides, who we're going to talk about later, they're asking you to do. And as you were telling me all this, and I was like with my eyes like that, you threw some concepts there like timelines and time travel, and all the things. I was like amazed by everything that I heard it, and to be honest, I've been doing some trips with groups, spiritual groups, and obviously I don't know. Not even the majority of people in the spiritual realm, in spiritual world, but I can easily tell that you have a lot of access of information, a lot of access to these subtle realities, and you have a lot of wisdom with that, right? And so I'm thankful that you are sharing that you are in that mission to go in and face all the challenges that you need to face, be traveling all the time to places that you don't know why you're there, what they're asking you to be there, and all that. So I'm thankful that you're doing that. And I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation that we're going to have today. So everyone will learn what is that is happening also from your point of view, what is happening in the world and in the planet and all that. But having said that, I'm also very interested in learning, like we can start from when you were a child. I mean, to me, it's very interesting, the story of right now you understand the message that you receive, you understand from who you receive it, you understand what to do or not to do. But it must have been, I don't know, confusing, I would guess, at the beginning when you were a child, maybe, to get all that access and really understand what is that, why people next to you might not be realizing that access or knowing that they have that same access that you have. Why are you seeing things that they are not seeing, right? What are you feeling things that they're not feeling? It must have been a very interesting path since you were born. So I would love to go through that.
Definitely.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, it was especially from my point of view. So from my experience, as I told you, like I know by now several channels around the globe and everything. And it's beautiful to see how each of us like are totally different. So totally, I'm used to say like it's a different and diverse digital in the spiritual realm, let's say like that. And before going to my childhood, just to explain a little, because I used to be skeptical also. So I ran away from the spirituality. So I perfectly understand all kinds of minds, ways of thinking. So just to adapt a little the information. What is this whole thing, and what do I believe in? So basically, I really believe all of us have all of this inside of us. Okay, so there's not someone who knows more or some kind of a guru, or I don't believe in any of that. I don't believe in like Jesus come back to earth to save all of us. Nothing related to that. So I really believe we all have this flame within ourselves, this wisdom, this connection, this identity, really like personal, this digital in this all subtle world, invisible world. Believe it or not, like it or not, we all have it. So this means also that it's not possible to apply ourselves to follow someone or to like just a line of thought or just a line of experiments, because we are made of all our past lives, past experience, and all the knowledge we collect as a huge library from all the time we've been on this planet Earth, or several others. So what does this mean? Because sometimes people ask me like, oh, but yeah, I developed a lot, so I'm studying this a lot, but the neighbor here is way better than me and have way more connection than me, and I really want to be like him or like her. And it's like, I'm always like, just keep working on yourself. Remember from your wisdom, from your power, and get this knowledge back to you because it's there. And understand what's the beautiful mark or what's the beautiful legacy you can leave on this planet. It doesn't need even to be related to spiritual realm. Yeah. Because we have all of this library independent of if we are aware or we are not. So actually our personality, our way of talking, of communicating, it's everything informed by all of this without us to understand or remember or not. So of course, it's a part of the awakening process to remember the whole thing and to understand, why I'm this way, why I react this way instead of the other, why I have this capability or this like gift to give to people. And it could be simple things, like normal stuff for humans. But we what we don't know, it's the correlation that is with all our previous experiences.
Right.
And when I'm always like saying like we are like a huge Ferrari covered with mud. So we just don't know we have a Ferrari behind all that mud, under all that mud. So what's the process and what's the programming we need to start doing? Is to start cleansing and to start understanding the shape of the Ferrari even with the mud, and then keep going and then keep receiving the messages and keep trusting. And each time we get a little more close to the Ferrari, we are like tapping in this potential one and then over and over and over and over again until one moment we'll get into the Ferrari. But then you understand you have a Ferrari, but you don't know how to drive it. You don't know how to use it the same way we don't know how to use our cell phones. So we can recover only whatever it is we have collected from our past experiences. And this is an important concept because it's easier. Sometimes you see someone like awakening and getting a lot of memories or gifts back, but it's not something that this people or this person collected from a guru or collected from an experience or collected from whatever. It's already within us, and this is an important
within the subconscious
concept. Yeah, it's our library. It's our own library.
Right.
So what happened is that from time to time you cross paths or cross your timelines with some people that already have this figured out within them. And if my energetic field already achieved these memories, already achieved, this potential, already achieved this solitude and this structure to understand all of this, and when your energetic field cross with mind, you will be informed. So the thing is, crossing paths to people who already developed this within themselves accelerate our own process. So this is the most contribution we can do to whom, whatever, each place, person, each energetic field. Okay? And we do this all the time. So if your energetic field is informed and developed, even if you don't have like the clarity among the spiritual world, and if you don't understand some concepts, it's okay, because your energetic field will inform the others all the time. Okay. In your relationships, in your profession, in your job, within your friends and colleagues, everything. So the magic is always happening. So I really believe you don't need to be in the spiritual world to develop as a soul, because I really believe this is the whole purpose of being here. So just to demystify a little this whole world.
I like that.
For me, it's really simple. There are simple concepts that all of us, in a just normal way of existing, are developing. So it's not something just for some of us. It's not something like you need to do a whole process and several initiation to be, to deserve to receive something from the gods. That's not true. It's not.
No, and sometimes I think there's also a reason why you're not remembering, like because it may have to do with your purpose here. Like for doing your purpose, you don't want to remember. Oh, yes, remember when I told you about, now I just remember when we talked about in that trip, the first conversations we had was about Atlantis. You told me that you remember a life in Atlantis, and that said, oh, beautiful. You told me, no, it's not beautiful. And I was like, I didn't know you at that time. But you were like, no, it's not beautiful. Sorry. But I totally get it. Why? Because remembering sometimes can be very, very hard, very painful, right? So, and you might not need those memories for the purpose that you have to do here on Earth on this incarnation.
We don't. So It's part of Project Earth. It's part of this project. We lose memory. It's part of the experience our soul choose to come here to lose memory. For me, it's like a video game. So you come, you start a new life from zero, from scratch. And this is part of what is supposed to happen, So the souls that came with the memories and everything, there's a purpose. And there's not much of us that came since the child with that. But there's a purpose for that. So, and it's definitely not to mix the whole thing up. But it's difficult because you get into a world which it's totally different, you know, the ways of thinking, the ways of operating in a matter, the ways of communicating. And then I'm used to say it, like, to explain to people what's happening in my life is like, I feel like I born talking Mandarin in the planet that talk English, for example, as a metaphor.
Yeah.
So, and my mind is a pretty much articulated and structured mind. So it has always been this way. So for my mind, it's super easy. It's like, okay, you guys don't talk Mandarin, so this Mandarin is useful. So let's put this in the box. And this was pretty much several of years of my experience around here. So for me,
that's
like,
how,
okay.
That's how you were born. You were born like this, because I heard you also talking about that. So you were born thinking like you were talking or understanding things in a different language than just the one that we humans
but I
do.
just ignored it. For me, like, I have for me, it's like, I have an efficient way of dealing with stuff that sometimes it's a problem also, but well, so it's just like, no one talks Mandarin around here. So Mandarin, useful, poof, bye. So what do you guys talk? Oh, you talk English. So I will adapt to this English world. You know?
That's, I understand the metaphor of Mandarin and English, but so what do you think that, does it have a name, the language that you, or the way you understand things? What is that? What do you really, how different is that from the way that we understand things?
I can give you several examples.
And again, if it helps, and if you can link it to that learning process of you as a children, like you understanding that you have that way of understanding it and communicating, or I don't know, whatever was different
these days.
Yeah.
I just know I have something, and I believe this happened to thousands of us that maybe are listening to these videos. Because until these days, I'm still discovering a lot by me, by resonating and by comparison, actually. Because when I started to attend people one-on-one, and I attended like 6,000 people, I understood that a lot of stuff for me were just like obvious and integrated within myself, and I've never learned about this on this lifetime.
So you healed 6,000. You did healing sessions for 6,000 people. That's what. Okay.
Yeah, in a row, like individually. Yeah. Before I start organizing my whole programming and everything. These days I don't do it individually anymore. But by this comparison, I learned about myself also, because I was just like, well, this human doesn't know about this, but then these thousands of humans don't know about this. How? Why do they think this way? Why can I? And this happened already in my childhood, you know. For example, I give you a physical example. I born seeing colors around people. By now, I understand these are auras, but I didn't know back then. And I don't like the normal concepts of nothing, actually. Like auras, I'm like, that's not that easy. Dimensions, there's not those just dimensions. Karma, it's not that simple, you know. So I always have like an access to several other stuff that I still don't know even how to explain around here. And I'm still on my path. I'm still on my awakening process also.
Yeah.
So for me, the awakening, it's more like to try to correlate and organize the whole knowledge and rememberings I have from upstairs to this matter, then from this matter to upstairs, like say like that. You know, most of the people I know, they want to discover things here. Like past lives, what is this important, who am I, my personality, my emotions, my everything. And for me, what is more grounded and integrated in me, it's everything which is from Planetary above. So I'm always like playing, like saying like, well, I understand the whole time frames and everything from Planetary Earth above. I'm struggling with time on Earth. I don't understand this. I don't understand why we have like these times for everything, and people are sometimes slow, and why everything like stop and people stop doing whatever they need to do. So my struggle during all this lifetime is to understand what's happening here. It's not to understand what's happening outside. And as a child, this was quite difficult because I was super sensitive. I'm born with this sensitive. And one of the keys to my sensitivity and one of the keys to my life was to understand how energy works. Because I born with a full access. What is a full access? Whatever I am, I can see the whole thing. See, feel, through my body, through my eyes, through my senses. So depending on the type of persons, the type of places, the energy in the places, the thinking method of each of these person, I absorbed the whole thing and I could see the whole thing. So imagine how crazy this was. Like I actually need to thank I thank all days, because I by now I know a lot of people with this kind of experiences. And my life, actually, it was really subtle comparing to, because due to my mind, I went to a by the book life experience. I used to be a lawyer. I did my master's. I went to a super paradigmatic, experience, super mental, super skeptical. And basically that allows me, and thanks God, to observe the spiritual realm on the outside. So as a child, I put it in a box, but I was always like checking, what is this? What has happened to me? And I ran away so much because I born in Portugal, and in Portugal, this is not a subject at all. It wasn't until I started doing this work. And then some people like indicate me, go to this person, go to that, do that, do that. And I was just like, I don't like this. This is not true. There's something missing here. This is mixing my energy. So I was just like, oh no, this is a mess. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to play with that world.
Yeah.
But I was all the time like looking and observing what happened to me. This gave me some trouble with like friendships, for example, because if you have a friend and people lie, and that's human, they lie. You have a friend lying to you, like, oh, I love you, I want to do this, and that. I'm all the time like, I can see the whole thing. So I can understand.
You can see that she's lying or he's lying.
The lie, the intentions. This give me like, until I understand what's happening, and that the others were not seeing the same.
Right.
Just through life experience, I start to understand that. I'm still understanding these days, because for me, the other see the same and understand the same.
Right.
So I was just like, but why are you saying that?
Because
why
are you saying that?
This, and this. So actually, you're feeling this way. Why don't you address that feeling with, like, let's talk about that? And it went really well with souls who are more old souls or wisdom, without knowing, of course, but with some people who are actually on the ego, when they see themselves exposed or seen, it's a problem. So it took me years to understand this was happening. It took me years to understand that each of us has our own time actually to deal with this too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, due to the access I have, maybe I run to you these days. I don't do that, but maybe or I want to run to you and to tell a lot of stuff that we'll be doing together in some years, or but by now I know I cannot do that. I know you will have your own time to figure it out and to actually make your own decisions, because there's no future. There's no such thing as future. There's a huge role of possibilities, and everything can change due to our free will. And actually the free will, it's another as it is the loss of memory, the free will is another characteristic of this planet. So it still is for me a lifetime to understand all of this. It was not easy for me to understand, like, why I can see your potential. I can see everything you can do, and you can manifest on earth, and the beautiful being you are, and why people cannot see that. So I was just like, it was crazy to me. And not only in an inspirational way, I had several trouble with that too, because imagine relationships, partners, for whatever, project, jobs, I can see the potential of the person.
Right.
So until I understand that one thing is the potential and another is their choice to manifest that potential.
Sure.
Until I understand these are two separate stuff, it took me years. I didn't know. For me, it's just clear as water. Right. If I see, why can't you see? If I understand all of this and the emotions and the pain and everything, and if I understand that we can transmute that and we can heal that in our own time and process, it's possible, and the others cannot, I didn't understand.
And Pati, does it happen to you that sometimes you feel that person has a potential, a great potential, but then it's just that it's like what I'm trying to go is, do you always get what you get is the truth, or sometimes happen to you that you felt like, okay, this guy has a potential, but in reality it doesn't happen, not because they're not manifesting, or the potential it's a tricky one, but maybe you got information that you should do this because of X reasons, and then you follow that because it was the message you received or whatever you perceived or you felt. At the end, it was not the case. Like you were misguided or misleaded. Never. Wow.
Never.
Wow.
Well, they've never got wrong. And that's one, I used to be skeptical, trust me. And this is one of the thing. The most crazy thing, at some point I just like, no, this is totally impossible. I've just lost my mind. Goodbye, world. Something happened. I don't know. I need to put this thing back. And at some point someone appears in human form, like, normal matter. And show me, no, that crazy stuff you receive, it's true. It's been studying from the United States government, blah, 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 since, it happened already. And it's here. And they show me like proof, like
Can you
studies.
give me an example of what we're talking about? Or just an example where crazy thing happened to you, that manifested to you? Like that you will say, no, this is impossible, never in a lifetime.
I don't want to get in details right now. We're still dating, so we need to get married for me to give you some details. Let's go slowly here.
Okay,
but I had an experience last year in Mount Sinai. So they asked me to go to Mount Sinai in Egypt. It was my first time in Egypt, and they gave me the specific rock, and they were super specific rock, specific time. And they told me, like, at this time you need to be sleeping and you will have a dream, but you need to start sleeping at 11 p.m. At 2 a.m. you'll have the dream, and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, oh my God, Mount Sinai, so Moses will appear to me. I was like, what? I'm kidding. I'm like kidding with this. And I was just like, no, this is too specific. What's happening in Mount Sinai? I just related to Moses, and I was like, okay, let's see. And then this is a huge adventure and super funny to follow, because it's like a normal girl, like trying to, how will I sleep in Mount Sinai? And then I receive this kind of stuff. And then people start telling me, like, matter. We go to matter, 3D. Oh, it's not possible to sleep there. It's not possible this, and that. And the people that work to me, my boyfriend and everything, everyone that come with me along this journey, they were just like, no, it's not possible. I'm always like, if I receive, it's possible. And it's possible all the time. So at some point, some door opens, someone appear, someone, it's just possible. I don't know how,
but the universe
be at 100% time with no error. So that happened, and I was sleeping back that time. And when I woke up, I was just like, I need to integrate this. And I didn't tell anyone what was my dream. And I was just like, no, I totally lose it now, and I will not tell you the dream. But I will tell you.
That was going to be my question. You read my mind.
No, not yet. But I can tell you offline. But the funny thing was that two days after, someone introduced me to another someone. So a researcher that lives in the United States and did several interviews for Gaia TV and everything. So I managed to search him, and actually I entered in a Zoom with him to exchange some information and everything. And at some point he told me, like, have you been to Mount Sinai? And I was just like, yes, tell me more about that. And he was just like, oh, do you know that there is, like, basically he told me that there's a place there, and I'm going now on this trip, actually. There's a place where there's physical evidence of the dream I had. And for me, it's just like totally impossible that appeared to me in my dream even existed. And actually existed. There's proof, there's written proof, and there's a place where you have, like, the matter proofs, like bones. I'm giving you a hint now, but So I'll see this now. So this is one of
our second episode of our podcast coming up in the second.
About that, but basically it's like this, So I got the message or the information through the subtle world, and then on the matter someone appears and show me like the whole picture, and then I want to go there to see, to check, to have more information, and then I need to understand why I'm receiving this whole thing, you know, why this specific information, why me, why that place, whatever. So this is all a process all the time.
Good, great. No, and thanks for understand that you're probably part of the task of what you're working right now. So you need to be careful in what you share, what not, and that's totally fine. But going back to the fact that they never get wrong. I mean, you never get wrong information. Or let's dive into who are you getting the information from?
Well, this is a super important question, because what's happened in my work these days is like when people ask me like, what do you do? It's not easy, because what I managed to start doing is like, imagine I have this all access. Okay, but this is useful if you don't understand it. Okay, so it's useful to you if I start telling you a lot of stuff that are totally like, what? This makes no sense. Girl is just crazy. Blah, blah, more blah, blah, blah. And these days with social media and everything, we have a lot like that. So for me, this makes no sense. And like, again, we go back to my mind again, which is good for one stuff. It's not that good for others, because it took me a lot of years to surrender because of this mind. But on the other side, it's really useful on this matter.
Right.
Because what I understand is like, okay, it doesn't matter if I have this huge library and you cannot find a book to rely with, let's say like that. So for me, it's important to adapt the communication, and this is something I can do, to each type of person, and more than that, each type of level of consciousness.
Right.
So this is like a key to me. And everything is energy. So everything is what you're vibrating and resonating. So we need to be super careful in our type of energy, like say like this, in our vibration. So if we have a lower vibration, we will have access and full access to everything our soul can connect with on that level of vibration, on that line of vibration, let's say like that, like a radio station. Yes. But if we learn how to raise our vibration, and we come back here, so we are the same person, the same soul, the same reality, the same everything, but we change our lens. So we change the way we see and we absorb and we deal with everything, because we just raise our vibration. So for me, it's like super needed to have a tool, at least a tool, even if you're skeptical. You need to have a tool to know and raise your vibration. Whatever tool it is that makes sense for you. And part of my teachings, I give them a tool. But it could be anything, you know? But we need to know that, because the same way we work on our physical body, and we have, you know, attention to whatever it is we are eating, we need to shower, we need to work out the body. We don't have just our physical body. We have our subtle bodies too. So the spiritual, the mind body, the etherical body, all of them. And like it or not, believe it or not, I really think, even for skepticals, having a tool, it's a good idea. Because that way you can totally, you know, have a coherence and understand whatever it is you're receiving. And getting back to the guys, or to who you receive this information from. This was also a struggle to me. And until this day, I don't rely, or I don't accept anything I receive at first without having sure my vibration and my energy are super high, because of that.
Right.
When we are a channel, or even if we are not a channel, we are sensitive people. We have these subtle bodies, understanding or not, but we have them. Yeah. So these subtle bodies, they are all the time capturing information. So they can read the energy of a place without you having noticed, but they read. You can read the emotion, or you can absorb the emotion, and that will change depending of our own identity and digital in terms of, you know, capacities. So we are all the time receiving energy and receiving information.
Yeah.
And if we don't know what kind of energies are these, or if we don't know how to decide which ones we want to stay with, or which ones we do not, or which ones we want to resonate with, or which ones we do not. So if we are just an open channel and everything can connect with you, it's a mess.
Yeah.
Because we will never know what, you have free will. We always have free will. So we need to be able to choose what kind of energies connect with you and what kind of legacy you want to leave on this planet, the time you have here. Okay?
Yeah. No, I just want to understand, because we were talking about the subtle bodies that we have, right? And so I guess you're talking about the emotional body, the mind body. I don't know them all, but
there's several of them.
The astral body, whatever. But are you saying that information? When my question was, who are you receiving this information from? Because, like, the common knowledge, I would say, is that it would say your guides, right? Now you're introducing the concept of the subtle bodies. So who are you receiving the information from that gives you direction? So on your role, on the task, or whatever information you need for your daily life? The subtle bodies, your guides, or it depends?
No. I was introducing you to the subtle bodies just to give you a comparison on how it works in terms of energy. Because if you are all the time through the subtle bodies, through them, if you are all the time receiving stuff, how do you know what you are receiving? So what I'm telling you is, like, you receive information, me and you and whoever, depending on the line of frequency and vibration you are. So you have guides here, you have guides here, you have lost spirits here, you have a Venma here, okay? Yeah. So what you receive information depends on the lines of frequency you actually are. So if my frequency is low, I receive information from spirits, lost souls. It's not good. It's not good. We can dive into this, but it's a whole chapter. Low frequency, low experience, low exchange of energy. Okay. Right. So why was I telling you that for me to really accept some kind of information? First of all, I need to receive the information more than once. Why is that? Because I can have now. Imagine I have a fight with you. So my emotions, they are triggered, they are unbalanced, they are not aligned. So if I have this fight now and I'm not aligned and balanced, and I receive an information right away, I know that energy, it's a low energy. So, I need to receive that same information when I'm in a higher state of energy to really have the proof that this is some information to rely on. Yeah. But this is my case. Me as a channel, you have channels that receive from one guide, from one experience, from whoever. I receive from everything every single time. So I have my guides, I have my spiritual team, but I receive from monuments, places on earth. I can read the whole thing. So it's a faculty. So each time I can see the whole thing. So, of course, one thing is having access to this whole information as a library. And another thing is receiving channeling from some entities. And what happened in my case is that usually they present themselves. So if it's some kind of civilization outside, they give me the names or they show me the images from time to time. And I understand. And I always have the choice to connect or not. Always. And I really believe for all the channels it's like that. Sometimes I heard people saying like, oh, I don't have the choice. I don't have everything. And for me, but I'm still on the process and I can be wrong. And my understanding now is that you cannot choose because you are not still able to tame that energy. Because if I tame my own energy, I can push my energy from this point to this point. And this information keep coming. So I know it's a good information for me to have. Right. And if this energy or this guide really wants to stick with me and to be part of this project and to be part of this path here, so I can, through my energetic field, also contribute to the development of this soul or this spirit or this entity and push them also, But the thing is, for me, the key to all of this is to tame energy. And that I managed to do it very well since I'm a child.
To be able to be capable of, depending on the type of energy that you're capable of dealing with and managing, is
No.
the type of being or type of being that you will be able to connect with.
Because you can enter like the pyramid, for example. This is my reality these days. So you enter there. There's tons of energies around.
There's tons of energy.
If you're just an open channel with no experience, or you have a sudden awakening with no grounding, with no anchoring, with no one kind of, you've never heard about any of this, it will be a mess, because you don't know if what you're receiving is like the thoughts of the person who is seated next to you. Someone who had an heart attack and died climbing the pyramid. A guide who is there. The civilization that built it, the civilization that used it after, the pharaoh that rely on the tongue to receive an initiation, Napoleon that went there to spend the night. You don't know. You just don't know.
Right.
Okay. Until you develop yourself, of course, spiritual and everything. And what I see happening with my life and in my path is that they are always testing me. So this is not something that you wake up someday and you just have your faculties back. They are always, 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 always exhausting, in an exhaustion way, testing me. Yeah. So so they give me a little piece of my memory or of my faculties or capacities back, but then I know there will be months or a year of testing. And if I manage to stay like coherent, to stay in my heart, to don't lose myself, to be able to see my mind, my ego, my everything. And if I do good choices on this, at some point they integrate all of this inside of me, or let me come having this back. And then, okay, we can go to the next level. And I see this not just with me, but with thousands of people that passed during years with me, with the programs I have and everything. So even the ones around me, family and everything, I see this happening all the time.
Okay. So about the guys, right? In your case or in any case? Well, in your case, who are they? Who they come from? Are they like, are they from, I guess, other worlds? Are not necessarily? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it depends again on your previous experience. So this is like, imagine that now you are a super beautiful painting in a like a draw, in a, how do you say that in English? Uma folha.
Like a canvas.
A white paper.
The white paper, the canvas. Yeah.
White paper. At some point, you were the white paper. But experience after experience, life after life, your drawing became beautiful, became more sophisticated, became, more detailed, until the draw you have these days on this lifetime. What happened is you born as, you don't remember nothing. So you think you are a page, a blank page, but you're not.
Yeah.
During your awakening process, you are receiving parts of your drawing, okay? So if a part of my drawing is from other civilization, 100% chance I have other civilization guides. But if nothing in my drawing, if nothing in my previous experience has nothing to do with this realm, I'll probably have none related to that.
Right.
Okay.
So and your guides also change, can change in your lifetime.
They change
your incarnation
according to your choices again.
Yeah. Okay.
So most of the people that start in spirituality, they usually got access to shamans, indigenous, like the animals, the sacred animals, plants and everything. And this is one of the first realms. And when you start developing yourself, and most of the people usually they stop when they start receiving some of the gifts and some of the memories, they stop there. So they define their lives on that realm, on that that line, let's say like that. Because okay, now I'm, and this is the human part. So now I'm feeling super powerful and I have all of this. So this is my new perfection. I do this and this is for life. And it's okay. And it's just choice and you can help a lot of people and thousands of people with that. And it's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
But the ones who want to, or who challenge themselves to keep going, There's several other super high stages of consciousness and that they can reach. And each time we do like a quantum jump to another stage of consciousness and another experience, some other beings arrive. And they can mix with the previous beings, so they can form a huge team of guides, which all of us have. Or some of the previous members, they just say, your soul doesn't need my energy anymore. We have our project done. Whatever it was needed here, it's done. It's okay. So now I will address my energy to some other groups of people. And they can come again in the future if needed, okay? But the tendency is for them to move and to keep evolving, the same as you and your soul and your experience.
So when you say... when you say they come from other civilizations, you're talking about like star cosmic civilizations, right? We're talking about extraterrestrial. We're talking about people from beings from Sirius, from Pleiades, from...
Yeah.
So yours, from where are they?
From several...
No. They have a full commit, a full commission.
Yeah, I there's several species. I don't even know the names or whatever. I'm not the kind of person who I have no interest in understanding things. For me, it's just like by now, this whole universe proves to me how does everything work, and they teach me stuff. They show me the way, and for me, I totally accept by now. So I quit the thing of resistance and everything. I did that my whole life, and I know it's not that the way. So they just appear. I understand, and it's okay. This is the message to this, to that, to that. I need all, as I told you, for them to keep coming and keep, bringing the information. And someone in the matter brings the information also. So for me, this is the perfect equation, and it works.
Yeah.
Usually, at some point, they explain me why we're doing this and that, why the relation. If they are on my team, or it's just something in some point of the world that we are working on it, or if it's a little project.
Yeah.
But I will never be. I have no interest in it's. I have an understanding that it's such a vast universe.
Yeah.
And we are limited to this body, which is really a not so smart body and mind. And this is so tiny, For me, it's like our consciousness is something huge and big and wow, a huge universe. And we are confined to this little experiment on this body and this mind. So for me, I'm okay with not understanding the whole thing. And what I've been seeing is like the less I want to understand, the more they show me and explain. But actually, it's not important to me. So by now, there's a lot of stuff I'm learning through the process, like people cross my path also and give me another piece of my own puzzle, and I understand something. And, nice. Like this week in Brazil, I met someone from the spiritual world, also super well known, and he gave me a super beautiful piece of all that civilization stuff, which was like, I have some guides that are pretty well known, but for me, it makes no sense, the name they have, because it doesn't, for me, there was something wrong with timelines and whatever. And he just told me like, oh no, actually those beings, they are not on those stars people say. They are travelers. So they came way beyond, the time that stars appeared. And I was just like, oh, okay, perfect. That makes sense. Because I feel this connection so old and not related to one point, like one planet or one star or one stuck point. So they appear to me as travelers. I was just like, oh, that makes super sense. So I'm learning along the process, but I'm not the person who will like look for it. Never.
Okay.
Or ask.
No, I got you. And
this is super individual. There are people that this is really important for them to understand, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Me, I don't see. For me, there's no point.
Well, but you see them, right? But obviously, you feel it, but you have the vision. Yeah.
Sometimes I see, sometimes I feel it. It depends. They appear again. We connect to the lines of frequencies we are. So if I manage to put my frequency super subtle and super high, I may see them. But it's not just our job, If they want to be seen, they also need to kind of mess with the matter to appear. So I can reach
Right.
middle way, and they can reach middle way. For this to happen, a lot is happening on the backstage. So it's not that easy. So it's not something that you see all the time as I see you. It's not that. It's not possible to be that way. You see in levels of energy you are. Once it's anchored, okay? So awakening process, you start climbing the stairs until you anchor your vibration here. Until you anchor, you will be up and down all the time. So it's normal. It's part of the process. And when you anchor here, it starts again. You start climbing some, steps. And here, while you're climbing, you're up and down, up and down. And the access you have, how things appear to you, it's like a relationship. It's being built based on tests.
Yeah. No, and the fact that they've been guiding you all this time since you were born, you were able to see them. I mean, you were able to build a level of trust that at this point in time.
But I don't see the same guides forever. I know a lot of people that
it changed. Yeah.
see the same forever. I don't. When I was born, my capacity was to read the whole thing all the time. So if something appeared to me or low energies, because it was the reality I have back then.
Yeah. Right.
So the time I start climbing my energy, I start changing the experience I lived in this paranormal experience,
Yeah. And did they give you information, or what information they share with you about what humans are doing here? I mean, why are we here? Why the race? What's the purpose of it?
Well, for me, that information doesn't come, again, it comes from several places at the same time. So this is not like teaching school where they, at least my case, it's not something that a guide pick up my hand and show me the whole thing. So sometimes one appear and explain me this, the other appears explain that, but it's not the normal. For me, it's more common for me to get access to libraries of knowledge than actually to have someone explaining me something, until these days at least.
Yeah.
Okay. And this also, I have the information that varies and will change a long time depending on my own process. But
so you're saying that the information about why humans are here, what they do, that answer can change over time?
Change depending the lines that you are connecting with. So
interesting.
Yeah, because this is that complicated because of the parallel realities. So if you
I want to go there.
Yeah. If you connect with beings, well, diverse civilizations have diverse intentions through planet Earth and diverse interpretation of what they are doing. Okay? So if I connect with just one, I would have just one line of thought. But if I can connect with several of them, and besides that, connect with the library and the memory from the place, this got complicated. And that's pretty much my challenge also, because at the beginning, now I'm getting used to it, but at the beginning, imagine arriving at a place where you see, well, you have the story that you learn in school that people tell you about humankind and humanity on this lifetime. And imagine I arrive at a place and a huge library opens, the space library opens, and I see totally different stuff between reality. What?
Between reality, what do you see? So you see
between realities. I can give you an example. This one, like in Amazonia right now, I went with a group and we were in the Amazon River. But again, it's always related to the work you are actually doing and to the energy you are hosting. So Amazon River, imagine what happened there. Several stuff, several from the beginning of times, several stuff, and this is all accessible. But I will only access whatever is needed for me at that time and due to the free will I have. So what's happening to me that time? I was hosting a group and leading 42 Portuguese people to the forest. Okay. To do some kind of work that they already told me it was related to at the beginning, the first 2-3 in the US, actually. Remember, with the indigenous people, but regarding the Spanish people.
Yeah.
I did the same work, Portuguese, Brazil. What they start showing me in the river, and we start living in huge waves. It was just not normal at all because it's a river. So we passed through huge wave. The boat was just like, it was crazy. And they start showing me as a screen. So as a movie theater there, the whole discovery process. So I saw the ships as a movie. I saw the ships. I saw the pirates, the whole thing. So they start showing me that. And that scene, imagine the whole humanity story, that was just one little piece of it. They show me that for me to understand something really beautiful and that will totally change the way I energetically approach the work. What they showed me there, and I shared with the group, was that the first time that I went to Amazon, I received the whole pain. The forest was related to Portuguese people, which is the energy I'm anchored because I'm a Portuguese. So I was super empathic with the indigenous and the Brazilians and the story, actually, because in my life, my previous lifetimes, I have lives as an indigenous. So I was connected with that. But what they showed me through those images on that river was the Portuguese side that I've never had. For me, it was just why did they do that? So a lot of people died. So a lot of things happening, bad things also. Why is that? And through the images and everything, I managed to connect with those emotions, feelings, memories, and see those persons all of them, or most of them, really believing they are doing that because it's the only way. And really, when they get into the territory, which is pretty much what happened these days, when they get into the territory, they just need to kill because for them, they don't know what species are those. What are those people? All these animals, were they savages? Were they,
Right.
It's all of that. So I've never had the opportunity to understand the other side of the story. Right. So for me, for my channel, it's more like that. But I know several other people that it's more like having a guide explaining the whole thing. And for me, even the memory part I need to thank God all days because they actually do not show me this with emotion. And this is a good thing. So I can see a movie and I can choose. If I just see from the outside, I get messed with it within the film, or I can tap some of the emotions. And this led me to something that I'm still receiving. So this to share with you that it's still my own process, which is okay, if I don't have the emotions, and I by now know several people that they have the emotion and this is super painful for them. So all this life, so my question these days are okay, so these are my memories. These are the libraries that I'm accessing to, or these are memories from people I've been guiding from the other side too. And by now I know which time or one of these three realms happened. But the more you got deep into all of this, you get more.
More questions come up.
Yes, it's really a lot of layers.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
Realities and of time.
So going back to layers of reality and times. So I've been hearing a lot about that we are changing timeline. Mm-hmm. That is a concept that from planetary, from a planetary point of view, that's a concept that for me is hard to grasp. What does it mean we're changing timeline? How does that work? I mean, I understand that we could do some changes that will change the future, right? So we're in the present, we do some changes. Sorry?
There's no such thing as future, actually.
Okay, that's gonna, okay. But that's where culturally I would understand that we do some change here in the present and that would affect the future and that would change. Now, people are not talking about that. They like to talk or they talk about changing timeline. So that to me seems like it's changing the past, the present, and the future. Future doesn't exist. Okay, whatever. You're gonna explain me. But in my mind, this is the confusing part to me. What does it mean that we are changing timeline? How can that be? And then I want to also, because I know there's different layers, it's a rabbit hole also into, or maybe it's a separate topic about parallel realities and interdimensional or whatever. We can leave that aside, park that for now. But about timeline, changing timeline, can you clarify a little bit or give me more visibility on what you understand about the timelines? Are we changing timelines? What does that really mean?
Yeah, well, let me see. What's happening in terms of planet Earth right now, and this is some information, new information I shared with you there in the bus and everything. I received that information quite like a few months ago. Well, first of all, putting the Earth project apart, just to give you a projection of how does this work. So you have time and space on planet Earth, okay? Outside planet Earth, you don't have time and space. To be more precise, there must be 1 or 2 little points in the galaxy that you may have something similar to time and space. But forget that. You don't have it. Let's put this way. While you have it on planet Earth, is part of the project. So humans to evolve themselves. And why and here we go to like lower stages of consciousness, but most of the people came on the previous years, before indigo start coming, they came from that realm. So to humans to evolve themselves, you probably heard like people saying, oh, you need to be grateful for your life because your soul craved to be here. It's a huge opportunity to be here.
Planet Earth, be here in planet Earth. They want to all incarnate in planet Earth. I've heard that. Yeah.
Yes, you heard that. But you know why?
I guess because of the fact that my understanding was that because everything is there's no matter in whatever we are, that we want to coming to Earth is a way to really experience something totally different, and it's a way for the soul to keep learning because you are experiencing, and if you're experiencing, you get challenged and things do not work like you want. Perfect. And that is the process of helping you grow.
And that evolve. Is time and space. How is that time and space? Outside planet Earth, since you don't have time and space, whatever is the emotion or the vibration, let's put emotion and vibration on the same line. So in one emotion, I have one vibration. So whatever it is your tendency or pattern of emotions, it is your pattern on vibrations, okay? Or vibration. So your soul, when you disincarnate, I don't know if this is right. So when you're outside our planet, you are stuck, your soul are stuck with that pattern of emotions, let's say like that pattern of vibration, pattern of energy, okay? And since you don't have time and space out there, it means what? That if you want to change this pattern of energy, it's almost impossible. Because what? Because you'll be all the time vibrating on the same thing. So imagine if you die here with a huge amount of range, or violence or stuff like that. And that's why in Buddhism, for example, they work you at that moment. They work you to know how to raise your vibration and change your vibration on the moment of the death. The old Egyptian culture did that too. Because of what?
The moment of the death?
The moment of, the moment you die.
The death. Okay, got you. Okay. Yeah.
They teach you how to raise your vibration. The ancient Egypt did that too, to raise your vibration for you to get into a new life on a higher vibration. Why is that? Because on the other side, you got stuck to this pattern. And if it's a low pattern, you cannot get away from it. Why can't you get away from it? Because you don't have space and time. So what does space and time do for us? On this lifetime, imagine you have aggression problems or range patterns, something like this. Between the time you feel the emotion and the time you put in the matter, there's a time and space here. So this is this time and space that allows you to evolve and to learn and to do it and to have a different choice. Okay. Yeah. So this happens on this planet because it's a planet school. It's a project. Let's say like that. Outside, you don't have such thing. So if you don't have such thing, and if you transcend your consciousness, or if you learn how to rise your consciousness, your vibration, your choices, your whatever, in stages where you can connect with these no time and space lines, you can actually change the reality. So what's happening now on planet Earth is, this is a moment for this planet that affects the whole galaxy and the whole universe, and you have several other civilization and planets connected with this one. So this is a common project, actually. So what's happening? It's now the time for the planet to stop being a child and start being like an adult. Let's say like that. So it's a jump, a quantum jump. It's happening with or without us. So we are just little cells, little microorganisms to the planet.
You mean when you say that, just to be clear, it's happening with humans or without humans?
Yes. It's happening without humans.
Who needs to take that quantum jump is the planet Earth.
Yes, and we, as tiny little cells of the planet, we are having this quantum jump, liking it or not.
We're being carried.
Or we jump, or we get out. Yeah. Basically this. And this is what's happening right now. So what I've started receiving the past few months is that there are a possibility to create a parallel reality, to create another line of time, to kind of help the whole humanity and the whole planet Earth to do this jump in a more subtle way. How is that, and why is that? So if you passed already, definitely, for some awakening process, you know that sometimes you have like a catharsis, like sometimes it's like, it's difficult. Why is all that? I don't want that. So I'm having symptoms now. I reject all of this. So planet Earth is also on this process, okay? And this resistance is also in all of us. So you have wars, you have natural catastrophes, this is a possibility in timeline right now to happen. But there's another possibility I started receiving like 2-3 months ago, which is to build another timeline. And how do you build that timeline? On this moment on planet Earth, there are thousands of us, thousands of us, if not millions of us, who are like seeds of this consciousness. So we have this consciousness coming from other civilizations most of the time, and we are in this process to awaken all of this. But if you have all these seeds awakened and connected, and remember, when you start talking about timelines and everything, you are talking about planet Earth to above, to all the way up. It's a diverse matter than these ones, here. So if all of us do our work, and if all of us raise our frequencies and connect with each other and start exchanging pieces of this magical puzzle, it means that all of us can contribute to this race of the whole grid of the planet Earth, and all of us can actually create a new timeline. And what does that timeline will do for us? What's the point of all of this? Passing through this all awakening process in a more lovable and subtle way, which was precisely our last discussion together, if you remember and if you recall.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yes. But still, I understand that part, but still, I don't understand the wording used for timeline, because what we're saying is that we can all raise the vibration together and have a different outcome of that for the planet. So to me, that's a different future.
Timeline. Yes. Timeline.
But why don't people just say we create a new future? But they say they create a timeline, because when they say they change the timeline, to me it seems like they're also changing the past. I don't know if maybe it's a misconcept that I have.
They do. No, it's true, because there's no past, present, or future, because there's no time at all. So these boxes we put is just a way for our consciousness to understand this separation, okay? Because this is on this planet we have duality, so you have the separation. It's part of the game. But actually, it doesn't have. Okay, so when you choose when you choose a different future, it's actually a line you're choosing. And when you're choosing this line, and when you put all the energy to this line, and thousands of us, millions of us vibrating into this line, this will also change the past. Remember what I've told you, the example I gave you, like by working now territoriality now, you change and you impact the issues on territoriality back then.
So you change the past as well.
You change the past, yes. And we are in a moment of the story of the planet that you also actually have several beings from the future incarnated here. Because the timeline our world we're getting into, or the future our world is getting into, it was not the one who was supposed to be. So you have a lot happening, on the backstage to try to change the course of the planet.
Right.
Because it's really a huge, beautiful process and project. It hosted Atlantida, which is one of the most amazing, beautiful experiment cultures, civilization, let's call it like that. It's a super interesting planet with several other realities. And there's no much interesting on losing this project, actually. So that's why we are living all of this. And you have a lot of people awakening from, nothing normal lives to suddenly having a lot of information and everything. So the only challenge here is for us to become more clear, organized, structured, and anchored channels to the information start to disseminate. But we'll disseminate in a way or another, because it's the process that the planet is passing through, So next year, for sure, you will heard a lot about like other civilization, aliens, stuff will start appearing. Discoveries will appear. Stuff that it was remain in secret for, millenniums will appear. I'm sure next years. And why is that?
You're receiving that next year, because I've been hearing that for the past years as well. That like this year is gonna start happening the disclosure, and to a certain level, it started happening. With the U.S. Congress accepting and the hearings in the U.S. Congress and.
Part of the work we are doing here in Egypt is related to that, actually.
Oh, really?
It's the beginning. So I think the next year will be, depending on how our collective consciousness arise or not, it will be a challenging year. So it will be a year to plant seeds, but also a year of challenges, because we need to adjust to the new frequency, and it will be like shocks all around the planet. So a lot of concepts will be like challenged, and after that catharsis moment, I think next year will be like a cathartic moment, actually. Things will start getting into new places, and new information, and new concepts, and new understanding. So all of this we are discussing now, which now it's probably like strange or taboo, or this not let me that much comfortable with. In like 2 years from now, this is baby talk.
Okay, gotcha.
For all of us.
Yeah. So in your when you were sharing about the timeline and all that, I was remembering a story that you told me, and it's okay if you don't want to share it, of course. Just want to ask you, in case you do, the story that you told me about you inside I think you were inside one of the pyramids.
Which one?
And you, I don't know. I haven't been to Egypt. That's something that is pending for me. But it had to do with timeline. This is the hint I give you, because I don't want to share the story if you don't. Do you remember that you going to some specific?
I don't know, because one of the most beautiful parts of all of this for me also is to discover what is my identity in terms of whatever it is I came to do here, which is not totally clear for me yet. So I'm still discovering myself on this realm, and still getting memories from myself, and still getting understandings about myself. But this is not a fast process, because they are always testing me. So
we can delete this part of the podcast, obviously, if you don't want to share it. But to give you a hint of what I'm talking about, in case you want to share it, it had to do with you, because I told you about the time we're talking about timeline, and we're talking about time traveling, and you told me about the fact that you were asked at some point. I think you were in the pyramid. Maybe you were not in the pyramid, and I'm misleading you. To go into some specific time in the past and change something.
Yes, I remember.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
My life, in my own experience, right?
Yeah.
Regarding,
I don't know if it was you in the past or it was. Yeah, I think it was you in the past. I don't know.
Yeah,
yes, I think so. But it's some other incarnation, right? Some other life.
That I can totally share. It's okay. And that's related to what I was just now telling you, because this is the thing. Since you don't have past, present, or future, what does this mean? This means you can adapt and adjust to diverse timelines. And this is a thing I'm discovering is natural for me. What I'm discovering right now, this is one of the stuff I do since I'm a child. So I travel around. And I thought everyone who has like the spiritual and everything, they did the same. And by now I understand these are kind of identities, Each of us have some kind of specialties, let's say like this. Like you go to school, you choose some, subjects, it's something like that. So you have some ones that some of them you are better than others, and some of others they are better than you. So each of us have our own identity on this. So one thing I by now I understand, I do this as a child. So I travel around time all the time. Not the human time. This is my struggling until now, until this point. So maybe if we do a podcast next year, I hope to say the human time is not a problem anymore. But still, and until this point, it still is. So yeah, I have several experiences with time. So I have experience of myself in the future to come and talk to me right now on this lifetime. So I have experience on this own lifetime.
Yeah.
I have experience as a child to see myself or to urge myself saying like, don't worry, focus on this, do that this way, and you will figure it out what this is, you're doing well. So I have this, and this is beautiful to understand, because imagine that happened in my childhood, and today was the day I give that message. So when I arrive to the today, which would be like the future, but it's my now, I know perfectly, I just know this because it comes the image. So I see myself, like imagine I'm in a meditation or in the pyramid or whatever, and I see myself going there and crossing the lines and talk to my own children.
Yeah.
And I remember this as a child. So it's not something from my mind, you see? So I have the two memories, I understand perfectly how it's happening. And this happens also to interfere or to save me for some stuff. So, and that's why I was telling you, it's not that easy to say like, oh, I receive information from guide A or guide B. Sometimes you can't receive information from yourself.
Right.
And I receive a lot of information from my own self.
And you are able to distinguish when that is.
Yeah. Well, you will be during your lifetime.
Good.
When I was a child, I didn't understand. At some point, I received a message like, push yourself back to your right because a TV will fall where you are. And until the moment I was connected on this on some meditation, whatever I did, and I feel myself being pushed to my children to interfere with that, I didn't know who told me that before.
Right. At that time, you don't necessarily know. You can know.
But
later
again,
on.
this is my own case, and by now I know for all of us it's different, because it depends on what we have evolved in terms of capacities or not. But yes, this is possible to do with our own life. Several of us that may heard this probably had this kind of experiences. I've heard thousands of them by now.
But did you use that capability for a planetary task?
Also, yes, it was what I've been explaining you that happened, for example, now in this retreat. I did. They asked me to do. So I was.
Right. You went to that point in time.
Same. And you can do it between.
But you went to that point in time, but you didn't change anything. But you were capable of changing things when you are in the past. Like you had one thing is for what I understood from your story was that you were able to have the vision of how things were happen at that point in time. But another thing is for you to be able to be there in that past moment and be able to affect that moment.
You actually can. So I have experience with both. This one in Amazonia, for example, what did we do? So I saw the whole thing, and I managed to organize a collective work to transmute and transform those energies as a collective. So this is interfering. But I have the guidance to know where you can interfere or not, and in which kind of ways. So on that experience, for example, it was by working on compassion, on love, on harmony, on coherence, and by delivering these emotions and delivering these energies to the field itself start healing and start connecting and start informing the past and the future. This is one way to approach the whole thing. I've lived in another experience between my own lifetimes, and I know the rules because I've never read nothing about this or have any course or nothing. I've never ever heard anyone talk about this. So I just know from my own experience. So I'm also limited to my own experience. So someone may hear this and say like, oh, she doesn't know that part. Yeah, probably I don't. So please reach to me and give me that piece of my puzzle because I only know my own experience. And through my own experience, it's possible to do also and to interfere, but at some point. So you cannot interfere to the free will of the other realities, but you can share information, okay? At some level of information. So I have an experience with my own process to the healing of my feminine energy that at some point they put me in contact. So this Patricia traveled to a last version of me on Egypt, actually, a beautiful woman. And then I managed to talk to her. So I managed, and that's why I know that it's possible to appear as like matter. You need to go and down your energy and get on the mass and get dense. So I passed through that process. So I was able to manifest there and to connect and to say like, I'm from the future. I'm this, that. This is the year. This is this. And we have been living repeatedly this pattern. And this is the origin. So your story here is this, and that. And I'm here just to tell you there's other ways. And I have a whole discussion, which was like super intense back then. And the whole discussion, and I explained a lot of stuff, but I cannot interfere. So I was just able to give the information and step back. And then with that information, my previous self could do nothing. And okay, so I would continue the whole healing processes on my own. Or actually what happened at that, she did something that actually changed and solved the whole situation that I was carrying incarnation after incarnation. And probably, but I didn't saw that, so I just saw this lifetime after. So that one and this one, but all the others who are in between, I'm sure they changed. I'm sure that's how it works. But again, I have no curiosity and stuff, so I'm just like, okay, this is what to do. Let's do it.
Amazing, Patty, amazing.
So it's possible, yeah.
Oh my God, I would spend hours and hours, and I know that this tells me inside it's a validation to do other episodes. Hopefully, if you're willing to in the future.
Cool.
But yeah. The future doesn't exist. Wherever. In the past, let's do something in the past. But I wanna thank you. But before wrapping up, also ask you if there's something that beyond the fact to share, how people can learn more about you and what you do for the planet and your programs that you share with people. If there's also something else that you want to share that we haven't talked about regarding whatever your task today, what's coming, or any takeaway that you would like people to have, please, I want to give you that opportunity as well.
Thank you. No, as I told you, like I'm on my process, so I'm still learning a lot of stuff. I'm still understanding a lot of stuff. So I'm more like, I received like, again, 2 months, 3 months ago, that it was time to share my stories and to share my experience, which is just that, an experience, and to be able to meet and to exchange with others with other capabilities, and with several of us also who are awakening and everything. So what I do today is not necessarily what I'll be doing tomorrow. So I don't know
Yeah.
about that. I prefer not to call to
Okay.
that, because I think whatever we are doing is just a consequence for whatever we are discovering within ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm in a moment to really surrender to all of this. So I understand the moment we are passing through, the earth moment, it's really way bigger than even even with access and everything we can even imagine. So it's a huge, beautiful, shifting moment. And I really think we need to be in connection, all of us, because each of us will have like a diverse interpretation, a diverse piece of this beautiful puzzle. And we need to be more than ever connected in this exchange, working in our, love system, compassion, with all the problems we all will have being humans, and the drama and everything, we all have
Yeah.
that. So it's more like this. So I'm in a moment like to surrender and to share and to let the universe do whatever it's needed by now. So yeah, pretty much this.
Great. And I know you share a lot of very valuable information. So if anyone wanna follow you, do you wanna give your Instagram or whatever channel you use?
Yeah. By now, I created an organization to bring all these programs and methodologies. I basically created several programs to the diverse levels of consciousness, and they are on Heal Me. So we are on Instagram on Heal Me, heal.me. So you can reach me there. But
Beautiful.
I don't quite know what the next steps are. So
What the next
there
will
on
do.
my personal page, you'll find
For
me.
sure, you're gonna let people know in Heal Me what your next steps are.
I'm
Otherwise,
always
there's
sharing.
gonna be a lot of disappointed people that are just gonna say, "Where did she go?"
No,
All
yeah,
right.
I have this travels around the globe, so it's easy to. I'm always
Yeah.
here and there. It's easier to connect and to do something together. If so.
Beautiful. Patti, I want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really thank you so much for being able to be here with me today. And we'll definitely do a
Pleasure.
second episode soon.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love
All
it.
right. Thank you, audience.
Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye. Bye.